Many of you have been asking what is the real story behind that panel discussion with Sheikh Karim and Uthman bin Farooq. That conference happened 9 months ago, and I had no intention to publicly talk about it because it's pretty clear what happened. And if you look in the comments, people generally figured out exactly the situation. But recently, our brother Uthman bin Farooq was interviewed on a podcast, and he made the following comments.
But when you had that engagement with Brother Daniel Haqiqatjou in last November at the AIM conference,
yes,
to some outsiders, it may come across, or perhaps it did come across, a bit of an inquisition.
Okay, good,
Why,
valid question. Let me explain this.
Why did you feel the need to have that engagement on camera?
First and foremost, our brother Daniel, may Allah protect him and help us and protect us.
Ameen.
We had, and Sheikh Karim is a witness to this, he's here in the UK right now, you can ask him. We had talked to him offline, we had discussed everything, and we had even had a podcast between us three before that, clarifying some of his stances. And he had made some statements ambiguously, for example, saying that he's a fanboy of Deoband and so on, that we wanted him to clarify because, as you know, and you live in the UK, within Deoband, there are different aqaid. And I have spoken to many Deobandi ulama about this issue. There is Mamati, there is Hayati, and there is other khilaf. I mean, if you look at Deoband.org and you look at the fatwa, sometimes they're not. And it's a madrasa, right? Like Medina University is a university. Graduates from Medina, they come out. There's a big range of it, right? We wanted him to clarify what he meant by this offline. He requested that to be in front of the camera, not us.
Okay.
Again, I didn't want to talk about this issue, but here Brother Uthman makes some claims about me that are simply not true. Maybe he misspoke or maybe he misremembered, but the truth is he has never approached me privately to talk about Deobandis or anything else really. Never. And I never requested Uthman or Sheikh Karim to address the issue of Deobandis on camera, let alone to be interrogated about it or to debate it in front of a conference full of people. So I have no idea what he's referring to.
Some of the statements that he had made, again, we had women that had sent Muslim, munaqqabat, muhajjabat, good Muslim women that had sent us tons of emails and letters about some of the statements that he made about women that they thought were against the Quran Hadith. We wanted to clarify that issue.
I don't remember anyone on that panel or in private asking me about misogyny or my stances on women or emails from pious Muslim sisters. So here, I also have no idea what he's referring to.
He had made some statements calling out particular rulers by name, not ambiguous. I mean, we make rad of any haram anywhere in the world, but things that were clearly calling out things that would be very specific to a particular king and country and so on, where it can cause great bloodshed and harm in the Muslim ummah.
So if I criticize a certain country for celebrating Halloween or building Hindu temples, that could cause great bloodshed apparently. Okay, good to know.
Because some would have seen as why Sheikh Uthman sticking it on him like that?
I would agree with you that definitely came out. We all agree that it was not the way we should have done things.
Okay.
It is not the way we wanted to do things, and it's not the way we planned to do things. He wasn't supposed to speak. There was no panel that time. Our brother Wasim Ismail was supposed to, or I think he was speaking after me. Sheikh Karim is a witness, and we can call him and you can ask him. Him and Sheikh Karim spoke, and he asked for the panel to be public.
Well, this is only partly true. The whole story is this. On the first day of the conference, one of the other speakers called me out publicly during his talk and said Daniel is wrong on the issue of the rulers. I was shocked by this because if you're invited to speak at a conference and you take time out of your busy schedule, you leave your family, you fly across the country to attend the conference, you don't expect another speaker at that conference to roast you. But I tried to be an understanding person. Okay, so I was criticized by another speaker, no problem. I welcome critique, but at least give me the chance to respond. That's what I requested from Sheikh Karim. Give me a chance to clarify my stance on this specific issue of criticizing the rulers, especially since another speaker at the conference brought it up. And that's what I did. If you go to the recording of the conference, you'll see that I spoke on that issue. But none of that had anything to do with being grilled on the spectrum of beliefs of our Deobandi brothers.
If you my brother Delhi, if you said I'm a Al-Qura fanboy or a Medina fanboy, and we have graduates from there in the country that are preaching something very different from others, for me to ask you to clarify that is not something unreasonable.
But the choice to do it on camera, you are saying, was Daniel.
Once again, and again, I'll give you Sheikh Kareem's number. You can speak to him himself. This is a clear thing that he's the one that requested it that way. We would not have wanted it that way. We did not want it that way.
No, I didn't expect anyone to interrogate me or debate me on Deobandis, let alone request such an interrogation to happen at the conference. It was a complete surprise. And in the recording, you can even see that they said this was not planned in advance.
Secondly, Brother Daniel, I didn't want to do this like this. I had no idea this was going to go on. Like I said at the beginning, I didn't plan on doing this on live, but Sheikh Kareem just brought you up here. I didn't know this was going to happen.
So again, you can go to the recording and see very clearly what happened. It was very uncomfortable because I'm the guest. They're inviting me. I don't want to be rude and respond in a aggressive way. I don't want to have a debate and start refuting the hosts at their own conference. That's just not appropriate.
And all we wanted to do was to clarify.
I don't have any issue with clarifying anything, but there's a time and place for it. For example, I could have asked our dear brother Uthman to clarify some of the questions that people have been raising about his ability to read the Quran and basic Arabic grammar mistakes. And he could have easily clarified all that, because if you're not a native Arabic speaker, it's not an easy language, and everyone makes mistakes when they're just learning the basics of Arabic and Surah Al-Fatiha, so no problem. But my point is, I could have asked him to clarify all that on the panel in front of everyone, but I thought, this is not the time nor the place. I don't want to put him on the spot. This conference is not for that purpose. I don't want to put someone else down for the sake of making myself look good. That's just not appropriate. So when he was questioning me, I didn't bring up those issues. Instead, I tried to smile and be polite for the sake of the conference and out of respect for the organizers and the conference attendees. But to be very honest, I didn't like Uthman's unexpected interrogation. I think you can read it very clearly on my face in the recording. And after the session, I made my feelings known. And Sheikh Kareem apologized to me for what happened. So credit to Sheikh Kareem for being mature enough to do that. But as for Uthman, well, to come out 9 months later and say that the whole thing was my idea is simply not true. If Uthman meant that it was my idea to clarify my stance on criticizing rulers at the conference, yes, that is true. I did want to publicly clarify because another speaker at that conference publicly critiqued my position on that specific issue. But if Uthman meant that was my idea for him to interrogate me about my stance on Deoband on camera like he did in front of the whole conference, no, that's unequivocally false. It was not my idea. So I just wanted to set the record straight. Again, I don't have any bad will towards our brother Uthman. Maybe he misremembered, or maybe he just didn't have the full story. At the end of the day, I think he is a highly effective da'i, mashallah, and he does a great job doing street dawah and debating the Bible with people who are walking in the park. Just really excellent work. So may Allah preserve him and protect him.